Hi, I'm Ashley, and I help people to speak the way they've always wanted to speak. One of the things that I help people with is pronunciation, particularly the pronunciation in a standard Southern British English accent, what comes under the umbrella of RP, or received pronunciation. However, I also help people with public speaking, presentation skills, breath work, and how to develop a deeper, richer, stronger voice. So if you're more interested in those things, there's a link in the description box below to my website where I offer those services. Today's lesson is all about the L sound. The first thing is the tip of the tongue touches the roof of the mouth for an L in this accent. And to be honest, for the majority of speakers that I work with, this is not an issue. So if you just have a go at a word like lazy or Laura, you'll notice that the tip of the tongue is coming up and hitting the roof of the mouth. However, that may not be true for you in all words with L's. Now, there is just a little exception here, which is there are some words where the L is totally silent in this accent anyway. For example, in a word like talk or calm, you notice in those words the L is not actually spoken. So there are some words where the L is silent, but those words, it's quite a small group of words that are affected by that. But I'm talking about words like email or words like feel. Instead of pronouncing the L, what might be true is that you are rounding your lips instead. So instead of feel, you might be saying feel, all. And the lips round and the tip of the tongue does not go up, it stays down. Feel. Email, the same thing would happen. So instead of email, with the tip of the tongue going up, tip goes down, lips round. Email. Email. So that's the first thing to sort of get interested in is, am I, when an L is pronounced in this accent, bringing the tip of my tongue to the roof of my mouth and letting my lips go sort of neutral or relaxed? So email. A trick to get into that is to put a vowel after it. And if you can find a suffix beginning with a vowel, all the better. So for example, if you said emailing, suddenly the L isn't an issue, right? Emailing. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. So you could say emailing, where it's kind of easier for you, but then kind of imagine yourself saying emailing, but when you get to the L, pause. So email, and then the tip of the tongue has come up and you've pronounced the L. Same thing for feel. You could say feeling, right? Or yeah, feeling. So feeling. It's easy to make the L. Feel, and then you kind of pause and your tongue has come up. Aside from that, the main course that we're going to think about, and this is relevant for those people as well as other people who don't drop those L's, is the difference between what's known as a light L and a dark L. Some people refer to them as hard L's and clear L's. Now, this has got nothing to do with the tip of the tongue, but all to do with what's happening in the back of the tongue. Because for a light L, the back of the tongue is low. There's lots of space inside the mouth. The sound of your voice can travel up from within, inside your body, through a very open space, come out into the front of your mouth and into the room, or the space that you're in, much like this. La. La. And for me, that feels very open. My throat feels open. The sound feels like it's traveling freely. However, for a dark L, the back of the tongue is raised a little. It's not touching anything, but it's just raised in the back of the mouth. So that sounds a little bit like this. All. All. For me, because there's less space there, the sound feels like it's gathering in the back of the mouth or the back of the throat. It's more guttural. It doesn't feel like it's traveling out quite as easily. So again, the dark L is all, all. Let me compare the two, right? Light L and then dark L. La, all, la, all. It's a couple of ways that you can kind of promote those two sounds. One is that If you only use a dark L, then the trick is, how do I get the back of my tongue low? Just try this. Start with your tongue really low with the vowel sound ah, like you're at the dentist or the doctor's and they're looking in the back of your throat. Ah. So in that sound, the back of the tongue is really low. And then just see if you can keep it low, and then just like the antennae of a snail, bring the tip of the tongue up. So it goes ah-la, ah-la. And you could put that sound and that R in front of words beginning with L's. So you could say the word Larry, but say Larry, just to try and figure out how to make that L. And then take the R away, Larry, and see if you can replicate it without it. If you only use light L's, then the job is to get the back of the tongue raised in the back of the mouth. And other than sort of thinking about pulling the sound back and swallowing the sound more into the back of your throat, a more practical way is to use words where the sound before it is already made with the back of the tongue raised, so that it's already in the right position. For example, if I said a word like toggle, toggle, the back of the tongue is already raised for that g. So you could just say g, 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 g. You might feel that back there, g, 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 g. It's right in the back of the throat. Same thing for sounds like k, 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 or ng, 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 an ng sound like in song. The back of the tongue is already there. So you could say that any word where you've got that sound before the L at the end of a word, and try and keep the sound there. So for example, toggle, toggle, toggle. Can you hear that? Almost sounds like I'm swallowing the sound. Toggle, toggle, tackle, tackle, bangle, bangle. The only other tip I've got for you is that the tongue, back of the tongue when it moves back or drops, makes the front of the tongue move a little bit. If you get a mirror and you were to make a light L, you'll actually see the underside of the front of your tongue. La. You might even be able to see that on this video. La. La. Whereas for a dark L, ooh, if you were to look in my mouth, you would see that the front of the tongue is now not so visible. It is a little bit, but it's gone back, so it's a bit darker. Last thing before we do some practice words is to know when and when not to use an L, a light L or a dark L in this particular accent. And the answer is that speakers of this accent use a light L when it is followed by a spoken vowel sound. So in a word like Larry, lazy, lamb, the L's would all be light because they're followed by vowel sounds. The same in happily, family. Those Y's at the end are actually vowel sounds. They're E sounds. So those are all light L's. In all other instances, the L is dark, which means basically that the L is either at the end of the word and there is no vowel sound at the beginning of the next word, or the L is before a consonant. So for example, email, that would be dark. Peeled, that third E isn't spoken, so it's peeled. The L is followed by the consonant. So try this. Light L's, Laura, lazy, lips. Dark L's, feel, peeled, email. So let's practice with some sentences, but just before I do that, note that I have a free British English accent pronunciation course, which I'm going to talk about at the end of this video. So here are some sentences. The lake was set in an idyllic location, nestled beneath the hillside. Louise listened to the bells playing in the distance. Charles could not believe his luck when he won the lottery. Alex limped home holding his bleeding elbow. I hope that was helpful. Remember that I've got a free British English accent pronunciation course. A link to that is in the description box below or up here. And also, I offer many other services in public speaking, presentation skills, breathwork, and how to develop a deeper and more resonant voice. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, there's a link to my website in the description box below. Please subscribe so that you can get all of my videos on demand whenever you want. And I hope to see you very, very soon.